What's going on, YouTube fam? It's your boy Gabos. We back with another one. We got Surviving Diddy Part 1, the untold story of Diddy parties, freak-offs, powers, and secrets. Boy, everything that happens in darkness always comes to light, don't it? Let's get right to it.
There are so many witnesses. There are so many victims.
Starting to act different, huh? You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at.
Is there anything that you may want to confess tonight before you go in?
You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy camp?
Hell no.
You try to get in contact with me, through all my, partners.
I keep everything right here. There you go. Or right here.
There you go.
Let's just go get some girls.
Man after my heart, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Is this a sociopath or is this somebody that
Savage! I'm a savage! Oh!
can be redeemed? And I'm not talking about in business or to the world. I think it's a wrap for that.
I'm a savage! Whatever I want, I'm going to get! Whatever I want, I have to get!
I mean, like, his soul.
I never liked him. I met him a bunch of times, but I never liked him.
Because P. Diddy be wanting the body. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no.
About my party, they're gonna be shutting them down. They're gonna probably be arresting me.
When they come to one of my parties, this is what happens to them. I put them to sleep.
I mean, the after party. Need locks on the doors.
No, I know about them.
A lot of heat. Physically, the place has to be hot.
You don't have no air conditioning.
No air conditioning.
No.
Why is that?
Heat affects the alcohol, and it also affects, everybody gets a little bit more comfortable and loose. Builds up a nice little sweat.
How do I address you?
You can call me Love.
Wow. None of these are aging right. Diddler is crazy, bruh. This man threw away his whole name.
Imagine waking up one day and the very foundation you've built your belief system on crumbles beneath you. For decades, Sean Diddy Combs was untouchable, a king among mortals, a figure that embodied hustle, success, and cultural power. He wasn't just a man, he was a symbol. The Bad Boy Records empire, his billion-dollar deals with Diego and Revolt TV, his Lifetime Achievement Awards. These were the bricks in the fortress of a legacy that seemed impenetrable. But here's the thing about legacy. It's fragile. All it takes is one crack, one accusation, and suddenly the whole structure collapses, like a house of cards. You see, for years we believed in the myth of Diddy. We wanted to believe in the fairy tale of his rise from nothing to everything, a narrative of grit, hustle, and endless success. But now we're confronted with a darker truth. The allegations that have surfaced, stories of sexual assault, abuse, and manipulation, are like a cold splash of water to the face. And it's forcing us to ask, what happens when the hero of the story is revealed as the villain all along? This is the story of Sean Combs, a man who rose to unimaginable heights only
It's that old Harvey Dent quote, die a hero, live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Powerful quote, too, from Batman.
have it all come crashing down, piece by piece.
Whoa.
And like any good story, it's about to get a lot more complicated.
All these are moments that I remember when they got posted.
Was born on November 4th, 1969, in the Harlem neighborhood of New York City. He was raised by his mother, Janice Combs, after his father, Melvin Earl Combs, was murdered in 1974 when he was just 3 years old. Melvin Combs was a big drug dealer for Harlem mobsters and ultimately died in a drug deal gone wrong. Meanwhile, Janice took on 3 jobs: as a teacher, substitute teacher, and escort. As an escort, it's been reported that Janice would take her clients back home and have sex with them in front of Diddy, exposing him to adult activity at an early age, which makes you think, Is this where the idea of freak-offs subconsciously came to Diddy? Furthermore, upon looking at the dynamic of Janice and Diddy on camera, it does make you think if this is a normal mother and son relationship. Over the years, Combs has gone by various names, including Puffy, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Diddy, and Love, which he legally
Brother
made his middle
Love.
name in 2021. He earned the nickname Puffy in high school because of his habit of puffing out his chest to make his body seem bigger. Combs majored in business administration at Howard University, producing weekly dance parties and running an airport shuttle service while attending classes. He dropped out to pursue an internship at Uptown Records, which led to a talent director position. Combs repeatedly rose to the level of vice president and had success producing several key artists for Uptown, but left the company in the early 1990s due to being fired from Andre Harrell.
I let Puff go. For the whole time he was let go, he was always on payroll. I never stopped paying him until he found his next spot. His artists were always still getting per diem, because I didn't do it to hurt him, but I knew it was time for him to grow.
In 1993, Combs started his own record company, Bad Boy Records.
I named it Bad Boy because I wanted to go against the grain. Anytime you go against the grain, they consider you like kind of bad. Nothing negative, nothing like hardcore. Just, I didn't want to be regular. I didn't want to just make records. I didn't want to just make money. I wanted to make history.
And here's the thing. Bad Boy Records wasn't just a record label, it was a revolution. Combs had this vision to reshape the sound of hip-hop, and with Biggie Smalls at his side, he did just that. The hits came like an unstoppable wave. Juicy, Big Papa, Mo Money, Mo Problems. Suddenly, Sean Puffy Combs wasn't just making music, he was creating culture. He became a legend not just because of his talents, but because of his belief that he could be more than just an industry player. He could be the industry.
It all goes back to one point. So I have a dream. A lot of times people see your dreams as they crazy. You going for your passion you have for your dreams may make you act crazy. You trying to reach your goals for your dreams, you're driven, you know. The dreams you have are so visionary, they may call you a genius. But it's just, I'm a dreamer. I love closing my eyes and dreaming. I don't really deal with reality when I deal with trying to work towards the future.
But here's the thing about legends. They often start to believe in their own immortality. And when you think you're untouchable, you stop seeing the cracks forming beneath your feet. As Combs expanded his empire, fashion, liquor, television, he evolved from a mogul into a monarch. He wasn't just successful, he was royalty. He didn't just rule Bad Boy Records, he ruled culture. Every room he walked into, every deal he made reinforced the idea that he was indestructible, that his empire would stand forever. But here's the kicker. What happens when the king forgets he's human? When the power he's wielded so confidently begins to morph into something darker, more insidious? When the empire you've built starts to crack under the weight of its own unchecked ambition? The answer to that question is where our story really begins. Because while the world saw Diddy's ascent to power, few were prepared for the fall that was waiting just around the corner. And trust me, what's coming next? You won't want to miss it. Success does funny things to people. It's intoxicating, like a drug. One hit and suddenly you're invincible. But here's the dirty little secret no one wants to talk about. With great power comes great temptation. And Sean Combs, he wasn't immune. In fact, he seemed to be the perfect example of how power can corrupt absolutely. Behind the velvet ropes, the VIP passes and the red carpets, there was a shadow growing around Combs. One that no chart-topping hit could ever cover. For every champagne bottle popped, there was a whispered rumor. For every deal signed in broad daylight, there were whispers of what went down after the parties, away from the cameras. And Sean Diddy Combs' legal troubles began over 33 years ago. In 1991, according to a November 2023 lawsuit, Combs and the R&B singer Aaron Hall allegedly sexually assaulted an unnamed victim and a friend after a music industry event, then beat her several days later when confronted. Next was yet another incident that happened in 1991, according to another November 2023 lawsuit. Combs allegedly drugged, sexually assaulted, and videotaped 19-year-old Joe Dickerson Neal after going on a date with her. Joe Dickerson Neal has come forward as the second individual to accuse the music icon Sean Diddy Combs of drugging and raping her in 1991. On November 23rd of 2023, she filed a lawsuit in the Manhattan Supreme Court just before the New York State Adult Survivors Act's deadline. Along with the allegations of sexual assault, she accuses Diddy of engaging in revenge porn, claiming he shared explicit footage of her with others in the music industry. Neal states that the circulation of this video has severely impacted her health, reputation, and career opportunities. Her lawsuit follows a similar legal action by Cassie Ventura, who we'll talk about in future episodes, filed on November 16th of 2023. Joe Dickerson Neal was born in 1970 in New York and raised by her mother after her father passed away when she was just 6 months old. She credits her mother for instilling strong moral values. In 1987, she enrolled at Syracuse University, majoring in psychology. To support her studies, she worked as a server at Wells Restaurant in Harlem, and later as a receptionist at the talent agency Apple One. She also worked as an assistant for DJ Funkmaster Flex's company and a location scout for cameraman Gary Brewer, collaborating on music videos for Grammy-winning artists like A Tribe Called Quest and more. Joy Dickerson Neal's lawsuit outlines a harrowing story of sexual assault, humiliation, and emotional trauma, allegedly at the hands of Sean Diddy Combs. At the time, they were part of the same social circle and had worked together on the music video for Straight From The Soul by Finesse and Sequoias. Although she initially resisted his advances due to rumors of his misogynistic behavior, she eventually agreed to have dinner with him. On November 3, 1991, Joy Dickerson Neal alleges that Sean Diddy Combs drugged her drink while she was in the restroom at Wells Restaurant in Harlem. She claims he then took her to a recording studio and later his home, where he sexually assaulted her, causing severe pelvic pain. Traumatized by the experience, she chose not to seek medical help or report the incident to the police, a common response for many survivors of sexual assault. Studies show that 63% of rape victims never file a report. According to her lawsuit, she withdrew into isolation at home, only confiding in her best friend when she felt safe enough to do so. Joy Dickerson Neal's lawsuit draws significant parallels to the allegations made by Cassie Ventura against Sean Diddy Combs, suggesting a potential pattern of gender-based violence. According to Neal, shortly after the alleged rape, she discovered that Diddy had secretly recorded the incident without her consent. She claims a mutual friend, Devontae Swing, revealed that Diddy had shown him the tape and told her that everyone had seen it. Although Devontae wanted to confront Diddy, his fear of losing Jodeci's record deal, Diddy was their A&R at the time, kept him silent, reflecting the bystander betrayal that often enables sexual violence. The multiple traumas Neal describes, including the assault, the humiliation of the recording, and the psychological toll, led to severe emotional distress. She struggled with flashbacks, insomnia, and depression, ultimately dropping out of school and seeking mental health care for clinical depression and suicidal thoughts. During her recovery, Neal claimed she filed police reports in both New York and New Jersey and tried to retrieve the revenge porn footage. However, those who had seen the tapes were allegedly too afraid to defy Diddy and refused to come forward. Her lawsuit also recounts an uncomfortable encounter at a work event where Diddy allegedly cornered her, knelt down, and insisted on his innocence. Neal claims her employer witnessed the exchange and later asked her about it. The saddest part is, at the time, it didn't matter because of how connected Combs already was in 1991. And 2 years later, with the formation of Bad Boy Records, Combs was in a different stratosphere. And when you're making the kind of money that Bad Boy was raking in, no one wants to rock the boat. Not the executives, not the lawyers, not even the artists. The brand was bigger than the people. Way bigger. And Combs? Well, he was the puppet master, pulling every string, making sure his empire stayed intact until it didn't. Because you can only keep the truth in the shadows for so long before it starts crawling into the light.
And one thing about Diddy, bro, and it's so sad because it's like, yo, if he's guilty of all this shit, it is what it is. Like, he deserves whatever he gets. But like, he was symbolic of like motivation, success. You know, if there's ever such thing as an American dream, it's someone like a Diddy story in which like the way he grew up and his upbringing and what he basically made himself into a mogul. You know what I mean? Like, you know, we refer to him as a producer, a rapper. In my opinion, Diddy could never rap, but he always, you know, he affiliated himself with great hits, great music, and he got away with a lot of stuff. So it's like, even just watching this and reacting to just how quickly everything just came crashing down for him, it's a little sad. You know what I mean? Because this man has been on top of the mountain for so long. Like, these references are going back to 91. You know what I mean? Going back to 91. And to watch everything come crashing down is like, he did a great job of hiding it. Even though there's always been references about a Diddy party, it's like 2024. That's when the context around the Diddy party started to change, bro. He did a great job of hiding this shit.
And the light, my friends, is coming. The cracks are starting to widen. And when they do, what leaks out is going to change everything.
What's good, Diddy? What's good, Diddy? No. What's good, Diddy?
He took me out of a dangerous game, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I was selling drugs real hard, you know? And when I got the record deal, all I got cut short. So it's like he Jesus to me, you know what I'm saying? Because he just saved me. And it's real, and I go all out.
Nah, I ain't saying none of that. I'm not Jesus.
To
Jesus.
me, I look at him like, I say Jesus.
And the next question is, watch out for the thunder out this month.
He saved me. Love you.
As Combs, due to her being a white woman. During an event in 1995, the court documents state that Combs forced himself on top of her and kissed her forcefully. Lampros claimed that she attempted to turn her head to avoid Combs' advances, but he grabbed her face and continued to take off her clothes before her. Lampros alleged that 3 other sexual assaults occurred in 1995, 1996, and towards the end of 2000. She claimed that Combs forced her to perform oral sex in a parking garage, forced Kim Porter to have sex with her before her, and violently grabbed her and forced himself onto her when he showed up to her apartment. The last alleged incident occurred while Combs was in a relationship with Lopez, which was mentioned in the court filing. Lampros also claimed that Combs recorded the 2 of them having sex and attempted to distribute the recording. The documents state that while Lampros was attending a function, a gentleman informed the man Miss Lampros was dating that he should reconsider dating her because he personally saw a video of her and Sean Combs having sex. Lampros claimed she wasn't aware she was being recorded. 1 year later, in 1996, Combs was actually found guilty of criminal mischief for threatening a photographer from the New York Post with a gun, but wasn't given any charges for this encounter.
Found guilty, but no charges.
As the lights glowed bright in the music industry, few could see the shadows that lurked behind the man who rose to the top, Sean P. Diddy Combs. Surrounded by fame and fortune, P. Diddy was untouchable, or so he thought. Success had wrapped him in a cocoon of power, and the warnings from those who tried to reach out were dismissed. They said he was out of control, but the heights of his success and the darkness from his childhood fueled his ego. The demons of his past grew stronger, slipping into his adult life and leaving a trail of chaos. Just 1 year after Combs was found guilty of criminal mischief from threatening a photographer with a gun, tragedy struck. In 1997, a drive-by shooting took the life of Christopher Wallace, better known as the Notorious B.I.G., at just 24 years old. The murder shocked the world and left a gaping wound in hip-hop. one that many believe was connected to the storm surrounding P. Diddy. Los Angeles became the scene of a tragedy that marked the end of an era.
It's so crazy even hearing the facts about the Diddy murder. Not the Diddy murder, the Biggie murder. This man had such a cultural impact. We still talk about Biggie to this day. To this day, bruh. What year he died? 97? What's that? Let me see. 07. Damn near 30 years ago. And he only died at 24. This man had such a cultural impact at the age of 24, in which 30 years later, we still talk and listen to his music, bro. That's wild, bro. 24 years old.
Of a new chapter in Combs' life. One that would be marked by controversy and
Crazy.
indulgence. By 1998, Combs' lavish lifestyle reached new heights as he began hosting his infamous Hampton all-white parties. These gatherings became the stuff of legend, attracting a who's who of the music industry, actors, real estate moguls, and even sports team owners. They were a symbol of Diddy's newfound status, his place above everyone else, where the rules of ordinary life no longer applied. But these parties, known for their secrecy and indulgence, would later come back to haunt him, becoming the focus of a federal indictment on September 16th, or better known as freak-offs. Throughout it all, P. Diddy moved as if he were untouchable, believing that he could walk over anyone who got in his way. But the cracks in that invisible image started showing early on. In 1999, he faced 2 arrests that would challenge his carefully curated persona. In April, he was charged with 2 felonies after beating record executive Steve Stout in a brutal confrontation involving fists, a champagne bottle, a telephone, and a chair. An apology and a reported payment of $500,000 helped the charges fade away, with Combs agreeing to a single day of anger management. Just months later, in December, he found himself in legal trouble again, this time with then girlfriend Jennifer Lopez and rapper Shine, following a nightclub shooting in New York.
They were drawing from their hip, and I turned to tell my friend, like, "Ooh, girl, watch out, oh my God," because there was really nowhere for me to go. Where I was standing, there was a wrought iron metal rail to my back. There was nowhere for me to go. And so as they were going back, they were backing back, like literally walking backwards towards the door, drawing from their hip. I told my friend, I said, "Oh my God, watch out." As I turned back to look at them, I watched them bow, bow. Both of them fired, and the muzzle flash was like, psh, psh. Shine's muzzle flash was a little higher. He was on the side closest to the bar. Puffy's muzzle flash was a little lower, and he was on the side closest to where I was, straight ahead from me. I watched them both fire their guns. I watched them. I got hit right here, in my nose, in between my eyes, which means I'm facing directly at you.
Although Combs was eventually acquitted on the weapons charge, the incident further solidified his reputation for living beyond the bounds of the law. But the story doesn't end here. If anything, it's just the beginning. The freak-off parties that began in 1998 now cast long shadows over Combs' legacy, and the survivors of those who witnessed his rise and reign are finally coming forward. The next episode will explore their stories, the secrets they've held, and what lies beneath the glamorous surface of the man known as Sean Diddy Combs. What other dark truths remain hidden, waiting to be uncovered? And will P. Diddy's past continue to haunt his future? Stay tuned as we dive deeper into the untold stories, the life, and the legacy of one of the most controversial figures in hip-hop history in our docu-series Surviving Diddy, as we continue to expose the Diddler.
The Diddler is insane, and we got part 2. But bro, this is why I don't idolize nobody, son. You just never really know what people are up to outside of the persona that they put in front of a camera. They could smile a million times in front of your face. You really don't know who these people really are. This dude Diddy was almost like a lovable figure. I mean, my mom loved Diddy. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna keep it a beat. She loved R. Kelly too. Huh. Boy, none of these are aging well at all. But this was part 1 of Surviving Diddy. It's just so crazy, bro. Like, of course Diddy would have to destroy himself. You know what I mean? And that's money, power, and years of just being in control of shit. Years being able to control people, silence people, and then get away with shit because you know, he has the lawyer money to do so, you know. So it looks like all that karma finally caught up to him in the year 2024, bro. But we'll react to part 2 later. This was Surviving Diddy, the untold story of Diddy parties, freak offs, power, and secrets. Hit the like and subscribe button for more stories, bro. How about